I just wanted to pop on and talk a little bit about the key to happiness. Really, it is the key to happiness. If you want to be happy in life, you have to choose to be grateful. That is 100% all there is to it. In First Thessalonians, it tells us to be joyful always, rejoice always, and be grateful. And of course, to pray continually. And those things are so important for us to maintain our mental health. In Philippians 4 6 through 9, it talks about how to not be anxious. And right now, during the holidays and during the busyness and the craziness that we've been on so much lately, it is really important to choose what you focus on. Thank you, Living Blessed. It's really important to make sure that what you look at a lot, focus on all the time, anything that you focus on, it's going to grow. It is going to get bigger. It's going to dominate. It is just the way our brains are made. And the more you focus on gratitude, the more you're going to notice the things that God does for you. In Philippians 4, it tells us, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, with prayer and petition and thanksgiving, present your request to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard our hearts and our mind in Christ Jesus. But it doesn't stop there. It tells you how to be grateful. It tells you to be grateful. And we're like, that's great. Now what do I do? Well, it says to change your focus. Focus on these things. Focus on what is good, what is praiseworthy, what is righteous, what are just things that you should be focusing on. When you focus on these things, then you do them. You want to do these things. You focus on the positive, you focus on what is righteous and praiseworthy, and then you will want to act on those things. And that is simply the key right there. Now, it's hard sometimes to be grateful. It's hard, maybe you're in circumstances that you're scared, you don't know what's going to happen, you have a lot of fear happening. And that is the time when you need to surrender it. Absolutely give it to God. Because guess what? If you continually do things on your own without God, He's going to let you. That's what He does. He lets us, it's our choice. But when you surrender it to Him and you give it to Him, then you will find that He intervenes. He steps up to the plate. He does the things that honestly He wanted to do in the first place. I was sitting on my couch the other day and I was just overwhelmed with gratitude. We've been so busy. My husband and I have been going through so many changes lately. We sold our house and we bought another house because I wanted to be closer to my daughter. My daughter just had a baby and I have a beautiful new granddaughter. And she wants me to babysit. And I'm very excited about that. I'm going to be a full time Mimi besides this, of course. And she wanted us closer, so we said, "Okay," we put our house on the market, and well, actually, it didn't work like that. Let me back up just a second because this is where the God does his supernatural, wonderful things. So we had been looking and looking and looking for a home, and I knew where I wanted to live. I knew what I didn't want, and I knew what I did want. I didn't want a garage in the basement because I didn't wanna carry a baby up and down the stairs. I'm not as young as I used to be, and I wanted something that was kind of all one level, but still had a basement, still had a garage on the same level so that it was easy for me to carry things in and out. I also carry my dog with me everywhere I go. So those of you that know me know. And I hadn't even put our house on the market. It wasn't even ready. It was absolutely not ready. And there were things that they say that when you sell a house, you always do things for the next person that you were always going to do for yourself. And that's exactly true because I hadn't even finished doing the things I wanted to do. We'd done a lot of updates and I was very proud of it and it was beautiful. Um, so it was something that I really, really was proud of and I enjoyed it. The houses that we were looking at though, nothing just really jumped out at me. And then one day I saw a house on the market and it was in the neighborhood that I wanted to be in and it was available and I called, but it had just went pending. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to give this to God because I really want this house. It's in our budget. It's the house that I feel like it would be perfect for us. And funny story is I actually knew the people that used to live there. So it made me feel like it was just meant to be, but obviously it wasn't because it was already pending. So then I decided, okay, I'm gonna give it to God, and we kept looking for other houses. And then a couple weeks go by. Oh, I called my realtor and I said, let me know when this if this comes back available, but otherwise we'll keep looking. And we looked and we saw other houses and we toured other houses. No, I do not work at a massage parlor. But thank you for asking, I guess. But I decided to go ahead and oh my goodness. So I don't know how to get rid of people off here, but somebody needs to delete them or report spam. Anyhow, so I decided that I was just going to keep looking. And then suddenly I was looking on Facebook or looking on Zillow just because we were looking. And I noticed that the house was not pending anymore, but it was still available. So I called my realtor. She says it hasn't even been released yet. It just now went back on the market. Like it hasn't even gone back on the market officially. And I said, "This is the house that I really want. Can we go see it?" And I hadn't even seen the inside of it. And my husband hadn't either. So I went ahead and uh, we set it up. I went and saw it, and we immediately made an offer. But since we hadn't even started with our house yet, we had to go ahead and make it a contingent offer, which I didn't think that they would accept, but they did. And it was a contingent upon our sale. So I had to hurry up and get everything done. But where my story ends here is that I couldn't believe that we listed our house, and there were so many other houses on the market at the time in our price bracket, in our town, and our house sold with a third person that looked at it, and it really blew my mind because I wasn't expecting that. So then we had the rush and the hurry, but it was all God's timing, and the close date for the people that bought our house, it was a week before what we had on our original close date. So something happened, and it ended up getting pushed back to our original close date, and it all worked out. So the other day I was on Zillow, and this has been about 5 weeks ago. The other day I was on Zillow, and just because it sent me a notification, and I looked, and a lot of those houses, most of those houses are still on the market. And I was just overwhelmed because that just brought to my attention that God is so good and that God had a plan for me and he worked it out. I had no control over it. I just did the things he told me to do, which was clean my house and do the best I can to get it ready and then just pack and have faith and trust. But if you guys have ever moved, you know that it is a nightmare to pack your things when you know that it's contingent. And there were two other people that needed to sell their house to get to our house. But I saw the fruit and I saw what surrendering does. And it has made me just really be able to trust that God is going to do what he needs to do, and that I need to be grateful and surrender and let him just do what he does because that is what we are called to do. And it helps relieve the stress. Let me tell you, when you can be grateful and you can focus on what God is doing and just sit back and watch sometimes, you can always find the good. You always know that all things work for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose. So, all you crazy people in the chat that are saying things that are a little iffy, I'm going to pray for you. But in the meantime, you guys be thankful, find things to be thankful for, even if it's just getting out of bed. Not everybody can, not everybody gets to sit up in bed, put their feet on the ground. So sometimes you have to look a little harder, but make sure that you're being grateful.